I was reading the book last night, and there's this one, it's a fiction book. She was talking about oppression, but it was very parallel to just
being oppressed by your in-laws.
Dun, dun, dun. No, but I did just make the parallel of it, and it was perfect. How you can't avoid hurt in relationships.
Oh, yeah.
And anyways.
Or you won't have any. Or you won't have any. You can't avoid, the core of life, really. That's the whole thing of addiction. And we'll just keep going with this because it's, that's the whole thing in addiction, right? And the whole thing in mental health issues of people self-medicating. They don't want to hurt.
Right.
They don't want to feel. So you can have nothing in life.
Or you can be with a little friction.
Or right. Or if you want to just self-medicate it out or avoid it, then you don't have the very things that you want.
Right.
And it's, the line I think that I always give is that family is the root of our socialization, but that's true. But it's where we learn pain. It's where we learn love. Right. More often, it's not for a lot of people, it's not where we learn healing or growth. And if you let it develop too much, that pain can kind of overcome it all. And that's where you get into people that just go like, I want this relationship, but it's so broken, we're not even able to communicate.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a great point, and it's at the root of so much of the work we do, and it was at the root of us, and it always will be. I mean, you will have pain, and it won't always be exactly how you want it. And I don't mean you, for any of us, Anyway, okay, so here's the deal. We have, it's the David Magee Show. I'm David Magee. We talk so much on this podcast about relationships and both the gift of those relationships, but how even when it's good, it can be complicated, it can be hard. But when you recognize that hard and you learn, for lack of a better word, how to roll with it, for example, that's how you get to so much more good. And on this, in a lot of the work we do, when we talk about family, there's one key role, and it's a very key role, that we haven't introduced you to yet. But our family certainly includes more than our three children, William, our late son, Hudson, and Mary Hallie. It's time you meet our daughter-in-law, Lo Magee. Welcome.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here.
Hey, I think maybe with this, it's all official now.
Oh, yeah. I'm officially a part of the family. I've made it.
You've made it to the podcast. And it's funny, Logan, and so let me clarify first.
Oh, yes.
We met you 17 years ago as Logan Mays in Chattanooga, Tennessee. When you met our son Hudson, or y'all came across each other in a church setting.
We did, which is very funny that it was at church.
Yeah, so Kent, I think, drug us all there, including me. Let me be clear.
Oh, and same. My parents definitely made me
And so you're there and you get eyes on the Magee family.
I do. My, my wearing an acolyte robe, nonetheless. Very, very, very cute. I guess there's no other word for it.
Well, it seemed to get Hudson's eye.
It did get Hudson's eye.
And he'd never had a girlfriend. So at that time, Hudson was a junior in high school.
He was Hud Stud. I must remind you.
Yeah, we did call him Huddy Studdy. It wasn't me calling him that.
But all the GPS.
All the girls in the school called him that. But he'd never had a significant girlfriend. Okay. It surprised us.
I'll give you that.
It surprised us.
Well, let me just take you back.
Please.
Let me paint the picture for you. My best friend Shannon and I were acolyting. So we, walk up in our robes. We sit down behind the preacher. And we immediately kind of look at each other and we spot a good-looking family in the audience, in the congregation. And, we're like, oh, they're so cute. And I feel like Hudson was making eyes too,
You could feel it.
So we were like, ooh, I'll take the one on the left. You take the one on the right. I think I chose William, but they were both very, very
Sure.
handsome boys.
Yeah. And you didn't know, but you're like, that one, William. Yeah.
And
funny.
it turns out he, man, this is showing our age. Facebook stalked me.
At least y'all were past MySpace.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So he reached out and just was like, I saw you at church, and my family and I have started coming here, and like hope to see you more or something. I mean, Hudson's like a pretty introverted,
yeah,
shy.
so he's
so
coming
for him to
in
do this,
hot.
like I know,
right?
But anyways, I immediately noticed it was very like calm, but it was also mischievous. And I had come out of like, a complicated relationship.
At that time you were a senior. You
I was
were
a
1 year
senior.
older. Yep, senior in high school. 1 year older than him.
And even though he was a Macaulay boy, he was kind of a mischievous Macaulay boy. He had this, which I'm not like saying that was a positive, but
Sure.
I think just subconsciously I was drawn to that.
Yeah.
Because I was kind of a rebel in my own way too. So anyways, we kind of got to know each other, made it official that fall.
17 years ago, which is kind of hard to believe.
guess so.
I remember speaking to you. I remember it vividly. You'd come over for dinner. He wanted to have you up, meet everybody. And I mean, we could tell this was like, wow, I mean, Hudson, he's got a girl. This is, but
I probably wasn't who he would have typically brought home. Let's just again.
what, give me a picture, like, because I don't always remember.
If you don't remember, I don't know how you could forget. I showed up to a dinner at your house in, I had like bright green gauges in my ears. Gauges.
I really
if you do,
don't.
Like,
I don't remember that.
They have their like
I know what
1 inch holes in your ear
Wow.
with their like little gauge earrings, and a Rolling Stones T-shirt, a floral print skirt.
Wow.
And I think you guys lived on Lookout Mountain, which for those that don't live in Chattanooga is, maybe like.
It was considered the more upscale bedroom community of the Chattanooga metro area.
Yes.
Yeah, right. So here you
so
come
I'm like
in.
walking in, like Hudson is, like I said, he is welcoming because he is just, he's not not that you guys are stuffy. That's not a great word, but like he didn't give off that vibe. So
right.
I was a little intimidated, to come meet you guys.
I understand.
And
by the way, I remember the first time in high school I went to my girlfriend's house. Oh my gosh! Look at my face turned.
Oh yeah.
I remember my girlfriend at the time said, "David, your face just turned 10 shades of red," and I went, "Yeah," and now it's 10 more shades redder.
Yes.
Because you just said that to me in front of them, but it did, and so but it's interesting because there's. In any like new relationship of like meet the parents. Oh my gosh. Here you are in high school. What struck me at the time was, I mean, like Hudson was still, he was just a junior. So he was playing high school soccer, and William was running track at that time at Ole Miss. And just being a dad, it sounds like such a stereotype. But I was struck like, oh, wow. I remember looking up in the paper. We still got the old school newspaper. And we got the Chattanooga Times Free Press, which I was writing a newspaper column for at the time. And I remember getting the old school newspaper, and they ran the list of the weekly leading scorers in high school soccer at the time. And it was fall. Yeah. And your name was in the top handful of scorers in the region. And I was like, so you, like, I didn't, maybe,
you weren't like,
I didn't know what gauges were maybe, but I'm thinking, well, she can put the ball in the goal. So that means something to me.
Oh yeah. No, it was totally my own insecurities. Like I just don't necessarily fit the mold, maybe is what I was thinking.
Fair enough.
But yeah,
fair enough.
There were other ways to connect, and we did have a lot more in common than I would have shown up.
And I remember talking to you, and I remember asking you about that. But a couple of things. One, almost the next week.
Oh yeah.
You get a career-ending injury.
That's right. Right.
And in the midst of the season, you're done. And then there's us. And our story has certainly been well documented, enough to the point that we don't even have to document it. But you're walking in and probably seeing and feeling one thing, because the old adage, there's two sides to every story. Mm-hmm. That's the way we humans are, is we meet at these intersections, and particularly in one like this that ended up certainly with fits and starts, which we'll discuss going forward. But in that intersection, I see this soccer player. You guys meet at church, you have a soccer player, and we're like, this is awesome. He's never had a girlfriend. Fun. But we were in crisis. At the time, we were at the beginning. William and Hudson. William is off at college by then. They're pretty deeply involved in substance misuse, which has been well documented. Mm-hmm. Kent and I'm struggling with addiction, and I'm getting lost in all the things that come with that. There's infidelity. I feel a lot of shame. I'm battling a lot of depression. It's rippling into my career. Kent and I's marriage. We're therefore also teetering let's be honest. Let me be honest. We were teetering on the edge of bankruptcy, which often happens. And I remember Kent getting anxious when the kids are even like, I'm going to bring somebody over for dinner. My mom can cook. So they like to brag about that.
Oh, yeah.
But she's like, I got to go buy another pack of pork chops if I do that. And I'm not comfortable. You know what I mean? And so there was like, I remember
I would have never thought that.
And because at that time we were trying to the boys were lost in their own thing, and nobody in our family was even connecting with this reality.
Which was vastly different from how my family system, family unit worked. Yeah. So it was just disorienting to walk into like this
and ours wasn't working, by the way. I mean, it wasn't. I
know. Well, I mean,
yeah, it was.
Everybody has their struggles. But your family did a really good job of hiding it and not talking about it.
Yeah.
I'm not for better or worse, probably.
And maybe at that time, it was still not time, because we didn't understand.
Exactly.
We didn't understand what was happening. But here you come.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you would feel like, because I remember, here's what I remember. Here's where I started from earlier. What I recall, and let me be clear for anybody listening. You are like, we call you Lo now, L-O. So you're Lo Magee, married to Hudson. But we met you as Logan, so people might hear both, because I call you both today. And people still call both. Fun. But so I remember meeting you, looking at you in our house. And I remember you talking to me and looking back at me. I can remember where you were sitting. I don't recall the earrings, but what I remember a feeling inside of, because I was at the midst of that particular day at a deep bout of depression. Not something I battle today. I mean, I barely even can remember. I've had no relationship with it for more than a decade now. But at that time, I remember enough to know it was heavy. And to the point, I didn't want anybody. I just didn't want anybody at the house, including nobody, meaning I'd probably just rather been there for me and pour a drink. And you're there, and I'm looking at you and talking to you, and I'm trying to just perk up to talk. And I remember I just wanted to go, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And in my mind now, looking back, Logan, I know that my wanting to tell you I'm sorry, I think deep down maybe I knew you were going to stick around, and I knew there was trouble ahead, you know? Because it wasn't just for that moment. Like, I don't really remember yet. That was one of the first times I felt that urge, that I felt like I needed to go, I'm sorry, you know? And I think I was inside needing to apologize for what I was sure a storm to come.
Yeah.
And it did. So you guys meet, and look, it sticks for a while, and it's common in dating. It doesn't, the fits and starts. Kent and I did the same thing. We met our freshman year. We didn't start dating for a while, but you guys were dating pretty fast and furious, but there's a lot going on. First of all, you go to college. Hudson's a year younger. Then he ends up at Ole Miss. You did not go to Ole Miss. You started UT Chattanooga, end up at University of Tennessee. So you're two worlds apart, but you're also two worlds apart is you're human. Whatever you got going on, you're young, you're trying to figure out your own emotions, your own family, your own self. But Hudson and William is sliding deep into addiction. And when that happens, comes everything with it. It's hard to keep a relationship.
Oh, yeah.
So what are you thinking then and what's going on?
Specifically, like when
in a relationship, he's beginning to struggle. I mean, it's easy to just go, get lost, dude. See you later.
Yeah, and I did. It was, I look back now, and Kent and I actually have something in common where I remember her giving you a second chance.
Yes.
And thinking she was so naive and just silly.
Yeah, what were you thinking at the time? You and the rest of the
Sorry,
world.
I'm jumping around a little bit.
No, but please, because that's fair.
I remember thinking like, he's not going to change. Like, people don't change. Like,
Kick him to the curb. Fair enough. It doesn't hurt my feelings. That was a fair assessment.
Like, he hurt you so much. He did this, he did that.
Yeah.
And Hudson modeled, similar behavior. Just maybe like would go months without responding to any text messages and clearly
I know now why. It was a disease. He was lost. But at the time you're in a relationship, you're thinking, and everybody just like told Kent, and you weren't alone. I'm sure your friends ditch this dude.
Oh, absolutely. And so I did, as in I finally moved on. I dated other people. He dated other people. We were just doing our own thing, finding our own space, but would still, keep in touch over holidays. I would see you guys when I was in Chattanooga. So it was always there, but it just wasn't.
It was one of those things that and we could see that too. Like even when you guys went through that, we knew I would say we never felt like it was over, like there was a chance, And so I go through my journey. I get back on my feet, as you mentioned. Kent does give me a second chance. We start rebuilding that. But as I often say, it's not like you can flip a switch. Hudson and William, Mary Hallie was still at home then. She's, battling, ends up pretty well documented, battling an eating disorder. I'm stopped drinking, but it's hardly recovery because I've just stopped. I don't even know what recovery is yet because it's a process. So our family unit's still struggling. By then, William's a senior in college. Hudson moves into about his sophomore. By then, he's like a sophomore in college. You're at UT into your junior year. And he's drowning. And William is drowning. And we get the phone call that Hudson it's not William first, it's Hudson. We get a phone call his sophomore year that Hudson is found essentially dead at a fraternity house on Ole Miss campus, my old fraternity house, of a drug overdose. And I mean, I'll be honest, even though we were just starting to get into, what reality is our family living in? Maybe our children are really struggling. We had no idea. So you get that phone call, and by then you're not dating, but y'all stayed in touch. And I guess you could have just said, well, that's awful.
Yeah,
but
send my
here's my good luck. Here's
wishes.
Love and best wishes to your recovery.
Yeah.
But that's not what happens.
No. I think with any trauma and even just grief, whatever you want to call it, you kind of forget the labels and you just go with your feeling and you just show up, So that's what I got the phone call from Sam McAlilly, and he was like,
Hudson's
I know
pledge
you would
brother, his college friend, and they still have a close friendship. Yeah.
Love Sam. Are you sitting, like, Hudson has overdose. He's in the hospital. he's in a coma. Like, you need to get to Oxford. And Mary Hallie also, called and said, Mom and Dad said he's not going to make it. Like, just come say bye however you need to. I know you'd want to. And so, it was just, drove down to Chattanooga. My mom didn't ask questions. She just said, let's go.
Yeah, you're making an 8-hour trip, essentially.
Right. I had an art history exam or something. I don't know, something. Of course, my professor's like,
I'm going to go 8 hours away to a boyfriend who overdosed. Yeah, I need to skip my exam.
Anyways, so dropped everything, drove down to Oxford with Mom, and it was just I remember it being a heavy drive, just the unknown, but also you kind of replay the relationship. You replay
what happened.
Yeah. What happened? What are the signs I didn't see? Yada. I mean, the list could go on. But we got there and he had just woken up.
Yeah, he's in a coma. We're counting. I was counting the days to pull the plug.
Yeah.
And you and your mother arrive, and he opens his eyes, and he doesn't have brain damage, and it looks like he's able, physically at least, and mentally, from as far as brain damage, to make a recovery. And yeah, I remember talking to you there very much, and you and your mother, and your mother was very supportive, and you were too. And I mean, y'all weren't asking, there was no blame, there were no questions asked. It was just come alongside, and we were all just in shock. And now that we know what we know, that we're here now, and you're married for years, and you have 2 children, we're all one big happy family, literally. Now that we know what we know, as I go back in writing in different ways, and when you start plotting it, it's so funny because I was up at 5 this morning working on this book that I'm working on, and I was actually on this going back and revisiting this very moment, because what you realize is that moment when you were there and Hudson is opening his eyes, that was the beginning of the formation of our family. Yeah. Of us making it, of y'all becoming a family. It happened right there in that hospital room when his eyes blinked open. We had so far to go. We didn't know, but also in that hospital room, Mary Hallie had not been talking to me very much. That was still damaged. My mother-in-law wasn't talking to me. Kent and I had only begun in my kind of newfound shunning, making a commitment to no more outside relationships, acknowledging too much alcohol, getting off Adderall misuse. In that hospital, in this crisis, when I look around that room, except for William, who didn't make it, came the first eye blinks of the opening of what would go on to become the remaking and making of what we know now as our family. And it's so fascinating. You didn't know that on that day.
No.
And so then you have to get in your car and drive back to class.
Yeah.
And get back like, what? I got to get in a real world.
Back to reality.
Yeah.
I think, to your point, it was honestly the first time I had seen you all be emotional. I'm going back to my family. Very open. Everybody knows what you're feeling and thinking. And your family was kind of self-contained and not cold by any means, but you just never really knew what someone was feeling.
We didn't wear it on our sleeve. We didn't know how to acknowledge it to ourselves.
No. And so I remember in the hospital, just finally, you guys couldn't hide your feelings or emotions.
There was nothing left.
Raw.
Yeah, there was nothing left. Mary Hallie called us aside, and she said, "Dad, how did we get so broken?" Which is a famous line out of Dear William, and will be in the movie because it happened. But she also called me aside, and it was the first time. She's like, "Dad. I mean, the boys. I mean, they're into cocaine. They're into drugs. And I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
How long is everybody know? You know, and it was like the whole world knew kind of like what happens to somebody when they're being cheated on a spouse. And the spouse goes, really? Really? The whole world knew. Well, it's the same thing in that, where, as you noted, it was a turning point because we were so raw, and it's antiseptic and the green walls and nurses, and Hudson's on a breathing machine. He couldn't even breathe on his own. He's in a coma, and you're like, dead gum. I mean, it's all over now, or you know, there's nothing left. So, I mean, you can't even, finally, you just say some truth.
Yeah. Isn't it refreshing?
Yeah. It freed us. So I guess thank you for Hudson for your overdose, right? I mean, that's the irony of just absolute crisis. We try to work so hard to cover it up, and then it's just broken. There's no repair, and you're like, well, I mean, I guess we can start living now. You know, and it's funny but true.
Yeah.
And it gave some life. That was the first time William looked at us that Kent said, William, I know you're struggling.
Yeah.
We drove him over to the park, another, you know, moment. And Kent turned and put his hand on him. I know you're struggling. And he goes, I am. And it was just, Hudson's overdose and near death was a breakthrough for all of us. But it takes a while. So it's not like you drive off and you and Hudson suddenly are all
happily ever
happily ever after. And the story is, it did begin there, but it was only a beginning.
Oh, yeah. Only the beginning. And Hudson, yes, he wasn't an addict anymore in that sense. He really stopped everything. He went to outpatient.
Yeah, he went to outpatient, and he was the first one to teach our family that began the depths of talk. He said a few things vulnerably as he came out of treatment that threw. He taught me the first shades of vulnerability, and I remember being rocked. And A, I was so shocked it came out of his mouth. B, I'm like, right. I'm like, maybe I need to go look in the mirror.
Right.
So a lot happened there, but sure, that doesn't mean that we people who battle addiction, and, you know, frankly, everybody battles some level of addiction, but those of us who maybe have had more extreme levels of it, you know, we're real prone to we quit using substance, and then Hudson's out, you know, he's going to become an expert in rock climbing, and he decides to fly fish, and he's going to become an expert
into hobbies.
Yes, that's right.
Which has its own struggles.
When you're you're young and trying to forge a relationship.
Yeah. And I think just, I mean, I would much rather him overdose on rock climbing too much.
Sure.
Just be addicted to rock climbing.
Yeah.
Or fly fishing,
well, you can metaphorically overdose on rock climbing.
But yeah, it changed. And just how we navigated interacting with one another without substances. I mean, not that every time we hung out, a substance was involved, but when Hudson could be vulnerable or when he could be emotionally connected, I mean, it took a little bit more just because he's innately more
internal.
He's not gonna express.
And Ken is the same way. And people thought I was different because I was so extrovert, and yet I modeled the same thing for him as a father. In some ways, I was talkative and open, but in other ways, I shared nothing.
Right.
Again, because I couldn't be honest with myself. I'd never admitted or understood I battled depression or battled anxiety or these things. So Hudson he didn't have that modeled for him. He didn't know.
Right.
But there you are trying to make a relationship. And so. And
I had hope that it would work. And after you go through something as traumatic as an overdose, and you are not thought to live.
Yes.
You're like, okay, well, we're meant to be together, and we're supposed to be, and like a movie. But I always had this.
It actually is literally going to be a movie, but yes.
It's just an unsteady hope. You're like, okay, it's going to be good. And then you're like, wait, life actually is hard, and relationships are hard. And even if, you survive something as big as this, like, it's still the everyday that is the hardest part.
Right. Even when you don't go through that, having been through dated people, relationships period, like you said when we first started talking today, to have any good out of a relationship, it's actually just hard, period. That's kind of the DNA of this whole podcast. We could go have celebrities on if any celebrities would agree to come, but I'm not asking them because that didn't really interest me. I'm interested in these conversations because we didn't do it for so long, and it doesn't even require going to the bowels of your soul. It requires, that's kind of what I like about this podcast. And I think that's what we're doing, is still using this as a tool to kind of continue the conversation. Like, we've come a long way, but let's just don't put it in the closet and not try to figure out where you've told us before. You've said it to me just the last week or two. It's like, I like, let's keep talking, let's keep communicating. And so I guess that's kind of, maybe I'm a fool for not out trying to have the biggest podcast I could have. The old formula is just go get a bunch of celebrities on and let them share it, and you get a bunch of listeners. I guess I'm a fool for that. But I've lost family, and I value it so much. And you've been through that where you've seen we lose it, that communicating is so important. And you've been a part of that journey, but it's hard, even if he's not, overcoming addiction. Here's you, and you're a young person, and you've got your, but also look, then William dies.
Yeah.
And I mean, so at that time, you've got Mary Hallie pretty deep into eating disorder treatment. I'm trying to learn how to be a good husband and you got a bird's eye view of this, but it's not like, we've been literally on stages talking about it, but it was not really my play. I'm not going to, there was a time for you to come into the story, because there was so much to unpack with that. But here you are, you're coming alongside and growing with us in that, but you're your own young person trying to figure out, who am I? How do I grow and do this? Right. But you've been given, like, we're going to movies, having dinners, and we're all getting back together in Chattanooga after William died. I mean, if you think back about that, Logan, here you and Hudson, and he's been through you're trying to forge a relationship. We're all going through this. William dies, and you're having to sit at the dinner table. Our son died a week ago. Mm-hmm. We're all at the dinner table, and then you're just a young college student still trying to go your own way.
Yeah.
I didn't even know what to say to you at the time. Like, I wanted you, I was so honored you were along with us, and it's made us stronger as a family now that you were there. But I've never been able to say this before, but gosh, I'm sorry. It was a lot. I am so sorry.
Well, I was watching a TV show the other day, and I related to the character because it's almost like you come into something and you just need to be like grateful and smile and like, thanks for feeding me dinner, and like, let's not talk about me not getting attention from you. And at first it was 17-year-old me, like, I want to impress Mr. and Mrs. Magee, and while still being authentically true to myself and not trying to mold and to something they want me to be. Not that you put that on me.
We actually didn't know, because we didn't even know what we were. But that would be normal for anybody in a situation to feel that.
But I wanted to be, the version of myself that was authentic, but also, didn't cause tension.
Yeah.
And by nature, I'm much more direct than Hudson.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I would come to these family dinners, even after William passed away and Hudson was sober. And it was still just, how do I navigate that? Yes. How do I have the real conversations to grow our relationship, but also not cause too much friction?
Yeah. To be honest, if it had been too much, I don't know if anybody in our world at that time, you're a mother now, and like when you bury a child, there's a window where there's so little. So I mean, you navigated it the right way, meaning at times we would sense and feel it and
Yeah,
try to figure it
I remember
out.
you
You know,
saying, because I would pout.
yeah.
But
You
guys would
I
say
could
would
see you
pout.
pouting and that was your way of saying, "Hello, I'm here."
I think that the way that I could get that from you guys was, I've learned now after like lots of years to try not to control and just to like release.
Yeah.
And be myself, which if you are the real version of yourself, you're going to attract the real version from somebody else.
Yeah. That's well said.
So I think that's kind of where I've, and I mean, we still have lots more we can work on as a family, but I think that as a young person, I didn't recognize that. And as I've grown into adulthood, I've been able to realize that just sometimes the best thing you can do for relationships is to release control.
Right. And let's be honest. I mean,
and to ask for things you need when you need them.
And just speak up.
And not just sit in
and
the
speak
corner
up
and pout.
Yeah. And I think that's well said, but I will pat you on the back and say, we're here today and you're one of the most valued people in our lives. And we wanted you there then. I remember, it's like when you've been through something and you've made it as well as we have.
Yeah.
Because we got a long way to grow. I'm 59. I mean, this is what this whole conversation is about, right? It's what this whole podcast is about. It's about all the work I do. I'm still trying to grow.
Yeah.
And all of us are. But as you look back, as we've all grown together, you were a part of it then, and an important part. And you were there like Hudson and Mary Hallie were there. I mean, we were walking to the movies together. We were living a life. It put you in a different spin of life that maybe you would have had at that age. There was a lot less going to bars. It was like, Kent will cook dinner and we'll go to the movie all together on Saturday night. And a lot of time not concerts, which was amazing. And so there was a lot of growth and a lot of bonding out of that. And yes, it was imperfect, and you were learning how to manage your feelings. We were learning how to manage ours too. And part of that is recognizing and valuing you, or figuring out how to communicate as well. And so it was learning for all of us. But we grew from it so well. We did something right.
Yeah.
Because today, we couldn't have arrived at a family unit and done it all together if we hadn't. But it doesn't mean that there wasn't a dance where we're battling grief, we're learning how to communicate. But if you weren't there, like I guess my point of it I'm trying to say is this. When you've made it, it's like a team that won a championship. When you've made it, you can go back and look at that team and you can understand how every single person was a role and an integral part of it. You are a part of our championship team and kind of reclaiming our family and reclaiming our joy. And I'm going to say claiming it, because reclaiming it suggests that we had some foundation that probably we didn't have. But so it's been such a growth journey. But so then we go through that. And I'll tell you a funny story, and this just came to my mind. But you talked about, and so don't let me embarrass you. But so like, okay. So this one's funny, and I hadn't thought of this. Oh my gosh, in the longest time. No.
What are we
It's so funny, but like you talk about, like you had emotion and you would wear it. So the funniest thing is, I really value this, by the way, but I'm about to say. I really value it.
Okay.
No, it's funny. It's funny. So we're back on our feet. We've come a long way. I'm back on my feet. You watched it, right? Like suddenly, I mean, Hudson's back on his feet, and you can tell. I mean, he's going to have some business success, and you're we've all been through the trauma. You're finding your groove. You're making A's in school. You're graduating, getting a job. Mary Hallie's coming out. Kent's like, we're like, okay, we're getting back to life. And I've got an ambitious bone in me that in recent years I've actually worked to clamp down. Now I'm going to let it unclamp a little bit, but I I like one day, so we were still learning to communicate, but I'm like, I had this opportunity maybe to move to another city for a job, and my family was all there, and they're all like, I don't know about that. I don't know. Well, here you are, and you and Hudson had not yet married. You were engaged. Or maybe you did. No, you married in 2014. You had just married, maybe. I think you just married. You'd either just married or were just about to. I can't quite get the timing. Doesn't matter. You're a part of the family. And you called me aside and you ripped me up one side and down there. No child of mine, nobody's ever spoken to me that way. You ripped me up one side, but there's two funny stories to this. Because one is you were like, how dare you think about moving? How dare you do that? Do you remember this? How dare you think about moving? This family has been through so much and you're going to go pull us apart and you're going to do that again? And I went, oh
gosh.
Okay. Do you even remember that?
No.
Funny.
That's not good if I don't remember.
Yeah.
I feel like I was a little more tender than that.
No.
Okay.
I'd never had any. No, you were in my world.
Again,
it was definitely that.
None of your kids would ever.
They absolutely would not communicate.
And like no conflict, like avoid conflict.
Yeah.
At all costs.
Well, they brought up that it might be a source. They just didn't say it. They said, I don't know. They responded. They said, I don't know. I mean, you really should think about that. Was the response, which was code for, I don't know if that's a good idea or not. You let me have it. But here's what's hilarious. Two things.
Okay, idea's coming back to me now.
Yeah.
Yes.
You let me have it. Two things. One, I did not take the job. If you don't ever come to me as long as our relationship exists and tell me that you don't feel like you have
welcome.
You have equal weight in our family as a voice, because I didn't take the job. I did not take the job. Had I taken the job, it would have been probably a good step in that career move for media for me. I would have stayed in Birmingham, but instead I stayed in Birmingham, and I knew that wasn't right, which is probably why I took the call for this other one. I never would have ended up in Oxford doing this work I've done with students. I would have gone on and finished my media career and become a media company president and gone on. Yeah. So I listened to you, you stopped it. But here's what's hilarious. 90 days later, y'all come walking in and go, we're moving to Montana. And you know what my first line that I've never told you this because I laughed so hard. It was all funny. I nudged Kent and I'm like, that's funny. She went and screamed at me for moving away and said I couldn't do it. And she just told us they're moving to Montana.
Okay.
How funny is that? No, it was all meant to be.
No, I know.
It just shows the moral of that story goes to the dynamics at work. Because you feel like, am I being heard? But you were.
I think that's
I heard you.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing is you want to feel seen.
Yeah.
I want to and that is something I've learned in our relationship.
Yes.
And by association, with Hudson, because,
sure.
want to feel seen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Seen by.
Absolutely.
You all seen.
Absolutely.
And heard.
Yes.
And I think that is so important for families to understand that at the root of everything, it doesn't have to be the thing. It doesn't have to be
100%.
It's just you want to feel seen.
I think it's the root of all of it, you know? Yeah. And that's why when you guys came and said, look, we feel like we want to move to Montana, we said, you have our blessing, Yeah. I'm glad you didn't tell me that when I said it because it all worked out.
I know.
But I guess the point is it's important to look back to everybody understand is sometimes you can feel like you're not, but we were working hard. I mean, I was working hard to see, you let me have it then. I'm laughing about that. But I heard you.
Yeah.
You were seen. Mm-hmm. You said you want to move. We said you have our blessing. And but that doesn't mean it's still all easy, but it's just that, as you're moving down the road, having the ability for people to see you and hear you, and having the freedom, because y'all were at a moment then where you needed that freedom, but that wasn't easy. Let me tell you.
No.
We because it's
and we still wanted to like have a close relationship with you all.
Yeah. It's hard.
It just was.
Yeah, it's hard.
It was
right?
hard.
For sure, because it was in Montana where we came for a visit, and
you'd come for a visit like twice a year. We'd come back twice a year.
And
I remember I'd go like a month without speaking to you all.
Yeah, because Hudson and I, none of us, and Kent, we don't know how to talk on the phone.
No. And
actually, still today,
it was like very traumatic.
And y'all call each other 5 times a day. The phone's ringing. Is your mother? Is your father?
Again, it's just like, so in my mind.
Yeah.
And I'm just we would see you all still having your life. And again, being like self-contained, and like Mary Hallie would come to the beach. She wasn't married at the time. You guys were just living your life. And we were like, but they haven't like spoken to us in a month.
Right. Because in your mind, and I'm not
in
like
our
mind,
putting the
right.
blame.
Yeah.
We could have picked up the phone and called. But it was like, oh, well, they're just fine without us. And I get we moved to Montana.
Yeah. And y'all are living in our mind, like actually we would try to call Hudson sometime. It's so funny. Because anybody knows him.
Hudson and I are very.
But y'all most every weekend we're living this postcard life. Mm-hmm. I couldn't get. And at that time it's early in marriage. Like now, I will reach out to you directly, and Kent will too. Kent will say, "Hey, do you want to go do something? Do you?" But at that time, I guess you're newly married. Like I don't know. It's not old school. It's just it seemed weird. Like I don't know. It never really dawned on me for you and I to just start talking on the phone all the time. Does that? And then y'all would go on these postcard life. You're living this life. So we go to the beach, and we'd say, y'all have been out fishing. I remember I would text, and Hudson like, we're not even in phone range for 3 days.
Yeah.
It's not an answer. It's just, as far as communicating, it's like a dance that's moving at different steps.
Oh, right. And back to my point earlier, the way that Hudson and I approach things, and I am very direct. So I was like, why don't you just tell your parents, like, hey, Logan's feeling left out.
Right.
Like, will you just text her? He would never, like that would, he would never. I remember him and I then getting in this like kind of tense.
You're like, go make your parents
dynamic of like, why can't you like, why can't you just tell them that we need a little bit of love and attention from them? Like, it's not hard. I would like call my mom immediately and be like, please text Hudson.
Yeah.
But Hudson would just, and I've learned that I can't make him feel something that he doesn't feel because he didn't feel that way.
Because he couldn't connect to it.
Yeah.
He's like, Logan, we don't
need my parents' attention.
We are in Montana, Logan. We just went camping with all our friends. And don't you remember that sunset? And he's what he's, don't you remember that fish we caught? Yeah. That's what, like, so, we're living our dream.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
It's funny.
And so that's something I've, as an in-law, had to.
Well, and for us in recent years, the difference has been, so we learn slow. And look, this is actually, I looked up to see how many people had in-laws in the country. There's like 200 million in-law relationships. I mean, not even duplicating the fact that there'd be 2. So, I mean, because there's like 100-something million married people in this country, just the U.S. alone. The in-law relationship in family is such a unique one. And it's unique for a lot of reasons. Well, because 1 out of 2 end. And so that gets people weird. We're not that way. We don't have that fear because we actually went through trauma. Kent and I literally got divorced and remarried. We don't really have that fear. It's not on our radar. But I'm just saying, in general, people listening, the in-law relationship's so complicated. Number one, it's just like your boys, you'll see, you change their diapers.
Yeah.
It's not a difference of love. It's just like there's some kind of thing like that. And those relationships have their own dynamics. but you didn't change the diapers of somebody, and then they're coming into a marriage with your child. So you got that relationship
Right.
to not get weird.
Yeah.
But all that is to say, Logan, that what we have learned through all of that, it's not just trying to be nice to you in direct communications and those kind of things. We learn as we get old, it's benefit to us. We like you, we love you, but we also really like you, and we're thankful you are in our life, you as a person. And so that was the biggest change of realizing and understanding, they have their own thing, and you don't, it's like you do want to be seen and heard. And part of being seen and heard is you don't want to go tinker in somebody else's.
Yeah.
So there's some of those things they have to wrestle through, but a lot of it is just more never having direct lines of communication. Because where does that, because we want it. And Hudson he's like me. He communicates. He doesn't like to talk on the phone very much.
Yeah.
But I'm different. I'll text message a lot, or I'll talk a lot in person, you know. And so I make you that person. A lot of times when you come in, I start spilling. I try to, it's not trying. I enjoy the conversation because you're interested, but I'll give you a lot of times information that people, a lot of times Kent will turn and go, something about work or something like, really? I've never heard that.
Yeah.
You get insider information because you are an insider.
I think I am that friend that people, because I don't like surface level.
Yes.
It makes me cringe. Just
I'm not very surface
how's
either.
the weather?
Yeah.
And I think I attract that from other people. I've had friends tell me this.
Yeah,
I'm not
for
just,
sure. No, No, I'm not a big surface level guy either.
And so people can just like immediately go deep
Yeah.
and get to kind of,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's no doubt. So you fit great here because I actually I ran into this thing one time that determined whether someone who's a surface level person or not. Well, I'm almost a zero.
Yeah.
I can talk about the weather all day, but I need to go deep in it. I need to talk about
I think the
the
winds
atmosphere.
are shifting from the north.
Exactly. I got to
I've
get
heard
into
you say that
1,000 times. And why?
probably like once a week.
And why they're shifting.
Oh.
Yeah.
But on that, like, I think the thing that I've come to terms with is that, let me actually pause and say, I want everything to be fair and equal. Like, that is why I have the political beliefs I do. I just want things to be fair.
Yeah.
But I've had to realize that things aren't always going to be fair and equal.
Sure.
And the way that people show love, the way that you show love, might be different from, one person to another.
That's right.
It's still love. It's just going to maybe present itself in a different way.
And somebody may get more of something else, or you might get more, it's right. It's all.
So I've had to just like let that go. Like you did not change my diapers.
That's right.
Kent did not change my diapers. But I still like feel like I'm part of your family.
And you
and
are.
important, but it's just, it's gonna look different. And I'm okay with that. No.
Yeah. No, it will. And it's not, meaning it looks different for Hudson and Mary Howley. It's my point.
Yeah.
It's like he and I have communicate in some ways that she and I don't. Mm-hmm. And you know what I mean?
And the same with my family. Like the way that I communicate with my parents is different, and the things that I need from them are different than Austin.
Yes.
And I think the way that makes it okay is that direct communication though, and not being like afraid
that's
to
right.
voice needs.
That's right.
Whatever that looks like.
That's right.
And I think like I'm like, I've learned a lot. Like I feel as though when Wilder and Wells grow up, like I've learned a lot to how I can show up. Mm-hmm. and just the way we all can like show up for one another.
Yeah, yeah. And it's but the great thing is, I think what's beautiful is you look back now from 17 years and there's so much more to go. Like in some ways we're just beginning,
Oh, I know. Right.
We're just beginning. We're at such the dawn. And that's what recovery is, because we talk a lot about recovery as individual journeys. That's one of the messages I kind of give to everybody in all my talks today. I'm like, y'all are spending too much time focusing on it for the individual journey. This is a family thing. When that it could be somebody's addiction to gambling or pornography or extramarital or substances, it rips at every person in there, every stakeholder, every engagement they have close to them, just rips it. And then, when you have healing, it's not just the person, it begins to heal everything, but it's like learned steps along the way. And I think that's why it is growth. It's like where we are today in relationships as a daughter-in-law, as a family, is you as a mother to as a wife. For all of us, I think the gift of life is when you realize, as a family, I said it to somebody last week, we have found so much joy, but we are in recovery. Yeah. Let me be clear, which means it's ongoing.
Yeah.
We just scratched the surface.
I think, yeah, we really have. And I'm going to reference this line from a book that I read recently. It's actually a fiction book, but you can glean a lot of insight from words within fiction novel too.
Oh, absolutely.
But anyways, she essentially was saying that you can't trauma-proof your life and you can't hurt-proof your relationships. You're gonna have that, and you can't avoid it.
Yes.
You're gonna have to accept that you are gonna cause harm to somebody else, and you're gonna receive that from others that you love. And I think the healing and the growth comes from being able to take a step away from that hurt and kind of analyzing and assessing the structure.
Yes.
Like the unit.
Yes.
What is not serving you and your relationship and your dynamic?
Right.
Can you kick in that thing and let it fall away? Mm-hmm. And then how do you rebuild it? And I think that's really where the growth comes and where you can then start to lay that solid foundation and build from there. And so our dynamic, there's been things I've definitely kicked in, but there's been a lot of growth and it's shifted. And now I'm feel like I'm building a friendship with you guys. And so
and we feel the same.
It's shifted and evolved. I've wanted to flee a lot of times, just
I get it.
But I think the growth has come from just taking a step away.
Yeah.
And what part have I had in this?
Yes.
How can I grow? How can I love? And vice versa.
I went to, and we're going to end on that note because that is so beautiful, but I laughed so hard. I was on a trip a week or two ago and went to a coffee shop, and I'm in there and I'm getting my coffee, and here comes this couple behind me, and somehow they start talking to me, and the lady, the woman's like, "Oh, where are you from?" "I'm from here," whatever. She's like, I said, "Well, where are y'all staying?" And she said, "Actually, I'm over here and I'm in this house with my in-laws," and she's trying to qualify it immediately. She said, "I love them so much, but they are driving me crazy, and I had to come over here and get this coffee." So anytime you need to go out and get coffee, that's okay. But that's so beautiful. We love you. We're so thankful you're a part of the family. She is Lo Magee. Tell me your website, because you are a photographer and a very talented photographer. You do some amazing photography for some great brands.
Yeah.
And very talented. Whenever we need some family photos or great grandchildren, or of our great photos of our grandchildren, And she's a mother of 2, married to our son, Hudson. Tell me your website.
lowmagee.com.
lowmagee.com. I love that last name. My adopted last name. I was adopted, got that name. Then you guys get
Passing
to carry
it
it.
on.
Y'all get to carry it forth. And you got those boys, you can take it on. She's Lo Magee, my daughter-in-law, one of my favorite podcast episodes I've ever done. Thanks for tuning in. Come back and see us next time. Or you can sign up for my newsletter, by the way, at davidmagee.substack.com or follow us, The David Magee Show, on social. Thanks for listening.